Hello everyone. Today we're going to discuss the morning sun and what effect that has on plants, and also we're going to discuss the effect of the summer solstice on plants as well. Just want to talk to y'all a little bit about that particular situation while we work here. I actually woke up this morning wanting to make the video about the morning sun and how it might be something that you need to consider if you're trying to set up a garden area. It's not the end-all be-all, but it is something to consider. It's something I never heard anyone talk about before, even master gardeners. I cannot believe that I'm the only person on earth who's ever figured this out or noticed this, but it seems to have some sort of importance. Like I said, I woke up wanting to record it, and someone just made a comment about the summer solstice and also planting by the moon, so we'll talk about that next. Well, as far as planting by the morning sun and having your garden set up that way was actually a major mistake of ours. It was a really cool mistake. We actually have our garden set up on the east side of our structures here on the farm, so we get direct morning sun from the east. The way this big mistake happened is that we were testing with the green bean grid system for the first time. We did 2 rows, or you could say 2 columns, 2 rows, whatever, it's a grid system. Anyway, so we just did 2 at 1 foot spacing, but we planted really late, even later than the green bean video that y'all may have seen. If you haven't seen that, check it out. So we planted 2 rows of beans and it was too late. It was probably mid-October or a little bit later, and something very interesting happened. The row of beans, we plant basically north to south or south to north. The row of beans, it was going to the east, produced quite a few beans. However, the beans that were on the western side barely produced 1 bean per plant. So that's something very interesting to consider. So I would say, if you can, if you are developing a garden space somewhere or putting in a new garden, I would highly recommend that you plant that in a manner where you can get that eastern sun. Had to jump back in here, I almost forgot to say one thing. Whenever you're planting in your garden, you need to consider the morning sun as well. Having that evidence of the green beans, if you plant something really tall on the eastern side like kale, then you have something beside it that's like a radish that's a lot shorter. You're not letting your radish, for instance, get that morning sun. So what we've been conscious of here in the past, it's not always like that, but in the past we'll put larger plants to the west and smaller plants to the east. That way they can all get that morning sun. Jumping back in. Been wanting to talk about that for a long time. Now, let's jump into the summer solstice. So what happens at the summer solstice, and we'll use radish as an example. We happen to have cropped out radish earlier this morning, and I saved a few to show you what we're talking about here. So what happens with that particular type of plant? It's not every single thing in the world, but we notice it heavily with the radish. When you hit the solstice and your plants are growing with radish, it tells the plant, uh-oh, I need to go out and start producing seed. There's less daylight hours. So what it does is it bolts, which means it comes up, and then it wants to go out to seed to produce seed for next year. And here are those radish that we saved so I can show you a little closer. As you can see right here, the stalk is very thick, and that tells us that it's going out to seed. Also here you can see it's getting what we call very rooty. Now these are not going out to bolt because of the summer solstice, it's just that time in their lifespan when they do it. So if you are planting certain types of crops, it even happens with the lettuce to some extent. When you are planting certain types of crops, that is something to consider. When we first started, we weren't growing a whole lot. We were conscientious of that. We wouldn't plant for 2 weeks until the solstice, and then we'd plant after that to kind of trick the plants per se. And it works out pretty good. So that's about the solstice. Now the other thing is about planting by the moon. No, we don't plant by the moon. The way we do it here is we do succession planting. So every single week, we're planting salad and we're transplanting salad every week to keep the flow of the produce going. That's just how we've been doing it here. Works out pretty good. I've heard people talking about planting by the moon cycles. Some people say it works really good, but here it's kind of a moot point because we just have to keep rocking and rolling the best that we can. So just a few tips for you there. Hopefully that can be beneficial to you at some point in time when you're doing your planting and planning out your garden space. Actually, I don't want that in there for some reason. Well guys, sorry for the quick video like this, but hey, that's the way it goes. We're actually trying to bank up time so we can record a little bit more high quality content for you. And the easiest way for me to do that is just to go ahead and do some work here in the garden while I discuss that with you. So hopefully soon we will have the green bean planting video as far as how to actually do it up soon. We also plan to do a video on planting radish. It will be how I used to plant for smaller gardens. I doubt we'll cover the earthway cedar in it or the jang cedar, but who knows. Got some other videos planned for you. Hopefully we can get them out here pretty quick and like I said, have some more visually pleasing content for y'all. Well guys, we appreciate it. If this was helpful, please go ahead and share it with whoever you want. Time is of the essence on this one because of the solstice information, and also maybe someone out there is getting ready to put their garden in and they might want to consider that morning sun aspect of the gardening as well. Well guys, we appreciate it. Y'all have a good one.